Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and this is episode 855. And in today's episode, we're talking about protecting your home. Now, you might be thinking, what has that got to do with personal development, anxieties, worries, and stresses? Well, I'd like to invite you to imagine, to be curious, to consider an analogy when it comes to your mind and your body and getting the success that you want. For example, let's say you have your home and something was going a little bit strange with that home in terms of there was a leak or there's some mold. What are you intuitively going to do? Well, I'd like to think you're going to try to protect it. You're going to keep it safe by getting the mold or fixing whatever we are going through for the house or the home. So therefore you feel good about your home. There you go, you can look at it, you can feel safe and you can feel secure. If there are people outside your home throwing litter and things like that, the chances are you are going to say, hey, that's not right. You might call the authorities, but you're not going just to allow it to happen. If people are trying to live in your home and not pay you rent, and especially people you may not even like, you're probably going to evict them. You're going to probably get the authorities once again and go, hey, that's not right. Because it is your home. Like, it should be your sanctuary, right? It should be a place where you feel good about your environment, where you feel a sense of peace, where you feel a sense of security. So as that analogy goes, it makes total sense, right? You wouldn't want to be in an environment which is unsafe, where people are there when you don't want them there. When things are broken, you're going to fix them. You're going to think of this home as something that you feel is precious to you. Like it's your place. It's your domain. You know, you may share it with people, of course, but ultimately, you want to be able to feel good about your environment and your home. And even if you're renting, just imagine in your mind that if you did own a home, you would want to really make sure it is safe on the outside and it's safe on the inside. Well, let's take that analogy into our mind and body. Because within this body, your consciousness resides within it, right? That your body is the home. Your consciousness, or you could say spirit, you could say your conscious, unconscious, whatever you want to be able to put a label on it, but you exist within this home of yours. And within this home, you may be allowing people to be living rent-free in your mind. People that you have grievances with, arguments with, the events that you play over and over and over and over, it all exists within the mind. And the same thing, if people were being mean to you, the structure of this home, whether it be verbal, whether it be physical, or any other form of abuse, you should be kind of trying to set new boundaries. But for some reason, we don't tend to do it compared to the comparison of a physical home. But our consciousness, this physical body of ours, is so much more important than a physical home. Because without you, there is no home. Like, you are the most important part of that equation. So let's pay attention to what is happening on our home. Are we defending our home consciously and unconsciously the way that we should be? Are we enforcing our boundaries the way that we should be? Because it is a choice, and I'm not saying it's easy. Far from it. It can be hard because those people have been living in our mind way too long. Maybe people we've been in abusive relationships, where it be narcissistic relationships, or maybe it could be our boss, it could be a colleague, it could be a partner, it could be a friend who takes advantage. whatever it is, that external pressure, or even the environment that you're in, right? Because sometimes the environment we're planted in, we have to unplant us and plant us where we want to be. That means severing ties, letting go of some connections, maybe a new career, new business. Now, the only disclaimer on that is never ever leave a situation if it's more deeper than the external. And what I mean by that is, if I don't believe I'm good enough, the chances are no matter what environment I go to, I could go from relationship to relationship, career to different career or different job, and I'll always still feel the same stress because it originates from me of not feeling good enough. But if it's physical beings and people out there who are trying to do those things, yeah, sometimes we've got to move on. It's moving your home to another location. But the analogy, the reason why I just thought about that is, we rarely protect our home as an investment, as in what I'm talking about now, the conscious and the unconscious. We invest in the physical things of our car, or of the next mobile phone, or the house, whatever it is, but we rarely invest within ourselves. And I'm not saying even financially. I know not everyone can invest financially. I mean, if you can, do it, because it's going to be the quickest shortcut that you could ever imagine. Just get the help you need by an absolute professional who solves that issue, the expert. But if you do not have the finances, one thing you have is time. Everyone has more time. Time is something that is like our life is the longest thing that we have and can experience, but it's getting shorter and shorter by the moment. So then we're like, I need to use this time as something that is precious. How can I enforce new foundations in my mind? How can I enforce new boundaries by letting go and evicting the people that exist in our mind, metaphorically, and move on from them? How can I take a stand for myself, whether it be from walking out, fueling the body better? I'm not saying you got to be a saint when it comes to eating only clean food, or never drinking, or smoking, or like whatever you do is up to you. But we have to be conscious of these things. We've got to be conscious of getting more harmony in the body, harmony in the mind, because they work together. The mind and body connection is absolutely a real thing. We know that because you think something, you feel something in your body. If you have an injury, you know it. Like it's interconnected. So we've got to be more conscious of, what are we doing? Are we really protecting ourselves? Are we really giving us the grace to develop ourselves? Are we giving ourselves the necessary time to find the learnings that are needed? Because it all exists within your mind. All of it does. Because life, or the world, is subjective. Your reality, you look through your filter. And maybe your filter is skewed with that limiting belief of being not good enough, or for other people not being deserving, or fear of failure, the fear of success, all of those things. But it's still a subjective construct that is being generated at a bit of a conscious level, but absolutely an unconscious level. But that unconscious level is still you. It is still your home. It is just one part of you, maybe like the basement, but we don't really want to go there. I'm just saying that because we consider the unconscious as something deeper and below. Well, sometimes we've got to clear out the cobwebs. Sometimes we've got to go in there and go, look, I'm ready to empty the things which no longer serve me. I'm ready to process the emotions that no longer serve me. Because having anger, sadness, fear, guilt, and hurt is not good for your physical well-being. They've done plenty of studies on this. From anger can lead to greater chances of things like heart attacks and stress and breakdowns. Guilt can be associated to a lower form of healing because we feel guilty and therefore we don't deserve to be healthy. So we know these emotions, if we experience them in an overwhelming or inappropriate or a prolonged amount of time, we just know physically it is not good for your body. So maybe it's time to start to process them, to acknowledge them, not to accept them. Like I was saying this on the pre-show because this is being recorded live on youtube.com/Joseph Clough, that we don't have to accept the problem, but we can accept that's where we are. And what I mean by that is, if we accept the problem as just being, well, that's my problem for life, and I don't think that's empowering. But sometimes we need to accept that our life is not where we want it to be. Sometimes we got to accept that the limiting belief is there. Not run away from it, not bury it, not hide away from those negative emotions. Sometimes we've got to shine a light upon those, because acknowledging them is a part of transforming them. Because when you acknowledge these parts of us, which are contained within this home of ours, we're saying that, look, they're there, so let's do something about it. What can I do to start making this change? I always say get to the root cause, get help with getting to the root cause and get someone to solve it ideally. But whatever it is for you personally, ideally look for that root. What is holding up all these things? What is holding up the emotion, the fear? Because maybe the fear of failure is because we don't feel we're enough. Maybe we don't feel worthy because we don't feel that we are lovable. Like, there's lots of interesting beliefs which kind of come together as one, but also kind of merge out. But that creates these emotions, which keeps the narrative and the story of those people living in our mind over and over and over again. Those past memories, those limiting decisions, because decisions create belief systems. Right? We must decide somewhere along the line, not consciously but unconsciously, to have a belief about ourselves, or a belief about money, or a belief about relationships. We must decide that. It wasn't decided beyond ourselves. Like, no one, I say this quite often, like, no one gets literally in your mind to do it. They may have given you all these messages, put you through hell and back, put all that significant events and those traumas and anxieties which broke us down to then come to that conclusion to decide we're not enough or worthy. But in the nature of that being so, we still decided at that unconscious level. So we've got to undo those decisions. We've got to undo those limiting beliefs. We've got to work through those emotions by preserving learnings. You see, when you have the learnings, you don't need that level of emotion. It doesn't mean you won't feel anger, sadness, fear, guilt, hurt, frustration, shame ever again, but you just won't be bringing all the past emotion into the present situation. Ask yourself this, consider this. If you've gone through lots of significant events, if you've made limiting decisions which don't support you, whether it be about money, health, relationship, career, finances, whatever it is, wherever you have like belief systems and all those things, when you go into this present situation, how likely are you bringing all of that into this situation? How likely is that? Well, I'm going to say it's 100%. How can you not bring that in? Because your perspective is based, or your perception is based on your past experience. It's the only data that you have. Past events and memories is data for your unconscious mind. If I've had 10 bad relationships, that data is going to lead me into this new situation to think, well, maybe the relationship's not going to happen, or it's not going to be work, or all relationships are bad. Same thing with money. If I've had bad data around money, Of course, I'm going to bring that into any situation. The way that we feel and associate, all of those things, but it's contained within this home of ours. That's what it is. But that's the beauty of it, because in this analogy, you own your home. You own this being. No one, no matter what they try to do to us, no matter what they have done to us, I know it's bad, I know it hurts, but ultimately this is your home. This is who you are. So then you've got to ask yourself, are you willing to fight for your home? Are you willing to fight to evict? And by fight, I don't necessarily mean like through aggression, but fight for your right to have freedom. To fight to enforce your boundaries because it's right. Because it's your future. Because as you work through this, once you start to digest it at an unconscious level, or process it, or evolve that limiting belief to I am worthy or I am deserving, something beautiful happens, because you start to see your home as something so much more. Because if we don't believe we're good enough or worthy or deserving, we have this, how does that home look in your mind? If you were to picture in your mind an unworthy home, an undeserving home, an unlovable home, if you were to think about that, a home which has been mistreated, a home where people have lived there when they shouldn't be living there, how does that home look like in your mind? Just as a metaphor, as an analogy, an association. I'm sure it's not going to look amazing. I'm sure the gutters or the walls or the roof, the tiles, whatever it is, there's probably lots of wear and tear there. Well, once you start to evict those people, once you start to treat yourself to leveling up, like encouraging yourself, guess what? That home transforms into your sanctuary. And that means you start to look after it. And guess what happens? The esteem of that home, you feel comfortable being there, you feel secure there, you love being in that home. Well, then you begin to love being in this home that is contained within your mind. You feel fulfilled. You want to get better at it. You want to improve your mind and your body. You want to put a new coat of paint or wallpaper. You want to be able to upgrade it. You want to be able to do the work, the DIY. You want to be able to nurture the garden and maybe grow vegetables. Like in this analogy of the home, it's the exact same thing what is happening between our two ears, the thing behind our eyes, consciousness. So that's why I mean you've got to fight for your home. You've got to fight for your right for happiness. And like I said, I don't mean like in a negative way. Sometimes it's got to be a bit aggressive, like have that kind of, let's change fight into that passion. Like you got to have that passion for your home, that purpose of the home, because that home can be passed down to other people, or at least the framework of that home. So if you have children, you can pass down that framework of what they think a home should be like. In other words, what life should be like. So consider that analogy and start to think, well, what can I do today? Every day. I remember I had my home a couple of years ago, and it was in COVID. So bear with me in like this story here, but it's really, it blew my mind, because I'm not really a toolsman. I can't probably even say it right, like a handyman kind of person. But in lockdown, we wanted like to build this a place which kind of comes out a little bit, and you have like the little fireplace and the TV in it and all those kind of things. And it was like a great project. So went on YouTube, and it was a 5-10 minute video. So I go to like the Home Depot or whatever the place we went to, got all the wood and the kind of the tools and the equipment, and it was a nightmare, to say the least. It was hard work, like almost just me putting up all the big kind of lumber, putting it all together, trying to do all the framework, the sawing. I didn't even have an electric short saw. I was just doing the manual sawing in the summer and all those kind of things outside, bringing it in, getting it all wrong. But I kept on doing it. I kept on working at it. And it got to the point that the depth of it was too long. And I almost quit. My partner at the time was almost done with it. And I was just looking at it. I was like, I cannot quit right now. Like, I've never done this before, but I cannot quit right now. So I went back to work. I remeasured things, got more suppliers, because I thought this is going to be a learning experience for me. There's something that I can look at and go, I'm proud of this. So with that desire to improve the home, to create something special, which was far more than actually getting someone else to do it, I wanted to do it for myself. I wasn't doing it for other people. I wasn't doing it to make other people happy. This was a project. And it turned out to be, in my opinion, absolutely amazing. Like, every time that, in fact, in the evening, I was just looking at it. In the morning, I woke up early to go downstairs to look at it because it was meaningful. It was something, because it was mine, that I created this. And I see that about personal development. You can't rely on other people to do things for you. You can do things with them. Like, I had a YouTube video to be able to show me the steps. All those types of things. I could have got a teacher to get me there quicker. But either way, I did that. And I think we can all take that analogy. I'm sure there's things that you've done in your life which was beyond your comfort zone, but you did it anyway. Well, now we've just got to apply the same psychology into letting go of the biggest issue in our life, those core limiting beliefs, to nurture this home, because there's nothing more precious than the consciousness of us. Because without that consciousness, then the external homes do not matter at all. So go ahead and make a decision to fight for your home. Be passionate and purposeful. Protect it. It is yours. No one gets to vandalize your home anymore. No one gets to live rent-free. They should be paying you millions if you're gonna let them. No one, or no more, is mold gonna be there. You're gonna do the work behind the wallpaper, behind the paint, clear it out, and then repaint or wallpaper it. See it as a project. You are the project of transformation. And of course, you can go about any solution that you want, but have that intention. Now, if you did personally want to work with me, people can apply, and that's at josephclough.info/talk. The thing is, you've got to be professional. You've got to be absolutely invested in time and in money. And I work with professionals who want to let go of the imposter syndrome, not being good enough and worthy and deserving. You go ahead to josephclough.info/talk. You fill out a questionnaire. You then book a time on our schedule, and it'll be a one-to-one call with us. We'll get clear on where you are, where you want to be, what's getting in the way. And if you're a good fit, we may invite you into our program. Once again, there is an investment, but we only want to work with people we know we can get the outcome, people we love and want to work with. So you just got to make sure you're ready for that. But either way, like I said, just take this analogy. Protect your home. It is your home. So let's go ahead and do that. Be passionate and purposeful, because no one else will. Like, they may do, but like after a while, they're going to lose that passion, because they can only be as passionate as you are. So with that, I look forward to speaking to you on a future episode. Many thanks and goodbye.